Good morning and good evening, everyone. I am Shashwat, and I'm currently a PhD candidate working in material science and biomechanics at Villanova University. Thank you so much for giving your time to hear our story. My story is the story of what happens when someone decides to do something selfless and ask themselves, if not me, who? If not now, when? I wish there was a simulator of some sorts that could show how different our lives would have turned out if it weren't for Miss Liu and her team. Would I turn out to be the same person I am today that I'm so proud of, or would I be unmotivated and in despair? Like most in our group, on April 13th, I got the dreaded email from UT Tyler on the eve of Nepali New Year's. I was in the room blankly staring at my phone, not knowing whether to scream or cry at a few sentences that were so easily sent from the other side of the world. I remember I didn't tell my parents about the scholarship cancellation for 10 whole days, in the faintest hope that this had to be some sort of April Fool's prank. But a follow-up email never really came. No matter how many times I checked my email, no matter how many times I double-checked all the application materials, there was no indication that it was really my fault. I literally had my I-20 with me that clearly showed the scholarship amount. How can a US university not know basic accounting that they overshot the scholarship budget? I was deep into my denial stage. After going through the multiple cycles of the remaining four stages, I came to know I was not the only one. The 60 of us were just spreadsheets on someone's desk. But for us, it was our future. And for most of us, our family's future on the line. But there was a divine intervention. I am probably the biggest atheist that exists, but how do you justify a random person who we didn't even know existed until a few weeks earlier showing up to help a bunch of 18-year-old Nepali kids on the other side of the world? This is probably the closest I will ever come to believing that a higher power exists. And how can you not? How can you not believe in God when people like Miss Liu and her team exist? Her team work day and night on top of their full-time jobs just to increase the chances of getting some of us an academic home. This was not their mess to clean. They taught me what responsibility looks like when no one is watching and when you gain absolutely nothing from it. With their help, I, along with Ankrit, was selected by Miss Megan Dorr and Central Michigan University on a full ride scholarship. There, I transitioned from a teen to an adult. I had so many firsts at CMU. I experienced my first snow. I learned how to walk when it's snowing so that I wouldn't break my bones. Got my first real job. Started a registered student organization. Co authored five peer reviewed journal articles. Received the Outstanding Engineering Student of the Year in the state of Michigan. Got a National Science Foundation grant for my internships. So many firsts. Not because I was special, but Miss Megan, CMU, Miss Liu, and her team believed I could be. I know Miss Megan is on this call and this is super random, but I still remember the day she took Ankit and I to Grand Rapids for soul food. 7 years later, that soul food in Grand Rapids, Michigan is still the best soul food that I've ever had. Subsequently, in 2022, I graduated with a bachelor's in mechanical engineering from CMU, and I did continue to pursue my research and completed my master's as well. A total of 6 years at CMU. Through this entire experience, I learned a new term, paying it forward. I knew about paying it back, but paying it forward meant something completely different. It taught me that giving back isn't about how big an impact you can make. It's about remembering what it felt like to need someone to show up. To say that they changed my life is an understatement. I am deeply grateful for their blind faith in me, and I'm even more grateful for making it possible for me to study in the US and for everything that decision enabled me to do. Because of that opportunity, I was able to give back and pay it forward. I was able to go back to Yusuf and lead Get Inspired sessions, and it still feels surreal to say that because I still remember sitting in those same seat at Yusuf as a kid, intimidated by Miss Selina Mullah, who was and still is absolutely amazing. Second, simply because I was able to work an on-campus job and earn in dollars, I was able to help a local library in Kathmandu buy books that they otherwise could not have afforded. And I was also able to bring joy to my family by contributing in whatever small ways I could during medical emergencies or rituals that had to be done. But this is the moment that I'm the proudest of all. Being chosen to speak at this webinar to represent Second Chance with Krishna out of the 54 students who benefited from this is a feeling that I truly cannot describe right now. I only hope that the way that I've lived my life since then honors the faith that was placed in me. To Miss Liu, her team, to Miss Megan Dorr and CMU, to my family, and to all the people that I've been able to help, not because I was asked to, but because one person wants to ask a different question. What is the one small thing we can do to move this forward? Thank you.